All right, I am barely waking up today. I had a bit of a cold and took some NyQuil, and that knocked me out for like 12 hours. You guys know how I feel about days of eating, full days of eating. But since Ryan is asking, we will go ahead and do a full day of eating. All right, today is not a training day, but normally on a training day, I would have 2 scoops of this. Currently, I am actually training fasted first thing in the morning for 2 reasons. One, it requires me to use less stimulants to feel them, and that means I can sleep easier and with better quality because I have a lower dose. It's processed and out of my system sooner in the day. Second, it's a hunger management strategy. So I've dropped from 5 meals to 4 meals, and the 4 meals are bigger. And I find that when I'm on stimulants and training and using an intra-workout supplement, I do not get hungry. So meal 1 of the day is technically just 2 scoops of this, which it looks like that is like 60 carbs, a bunch of BCAAs and EAAs and all that shit. And it basically is serving as a protein synthesis, feeding a muscle protein synthesis stimulator, because there's like 25 grams of BCAAs or something per scoop. I guess I'll show this too. So I have an Instapot. My process for first thing in the morning is always the same. I'll wake up and take my HGH, my thyroid, and then I'll put my rice on the rice cooker, and I'll take my dogs for a walk. So it's kind of like first thing. It's not really cardio, let's be real. It's like, my heart rate maybe gets up to 115 walking the dogs, but it's similar. So I'll wake up, take GH, take my thyroid, let that process in my system, take the dogs for like a 20-minute walk, and then when I get back, the rice will be ready. I'll put in like 50 grams more water than rice, 3 to 4 grams of iodized salt, and then the first serving today will be 75 grams of rice dry, which I actually weigh. I guess I'll also show this. So if you don't know how an Instapot works, it's super convenient. You literally just take this put it in here, put the lid on, and then I press a button and literally just wait. So by the time I'm done walking the dogs, this will be ready to go. Alrighty, meal 1. I always will put on 1/4 of a bell pepper. I like the red, orange, and yellow ones more, but I'll have green too. Go ahead and plop that on the George Foreman grill, and if you're seeing how dirty this grill is, please don't judge me. Sorry, Mom. I'll put 3 chicken breast tenderloins on. These are the same thing as regular chicken breast. It's just that a butcher has trimmed it, so it has even less fat. These have like 1 gram of fat per 50 grams of protein. I always just put 3 of them on there, because I don't find that weighing it matters. I've weighed thousands of them, and they average like 2.5 grams each. Next is a potato. I don't weigh my potatoes either. I usually just grab 1 medium potato. If the potato is fucking huge, I'll cut it in half. If it's a super tiny, small baby potato, I'll do 2. But anyway, all you gotta do, and obviously I usually do this with 2 hands, is poke some holes in the top of the potato. I usually do 3 sets of holes on each side. There you go, just like that. Now I will stick this in the microwave for 3 minutes on each side. One thing you'll notice about my cooking process is that it's super uninvolved. I literally don't have to actually cook anything. There's just a bunch of appliances that do all of it for me. 2 pineapple chunks, sorry. And 3 baby carrots. I'm not going to show you guys me eating that though. 50 grams of spinach. Then I'll put pretty close to 0-calorie sauce on here. 20 grams. Doing this while filming is super weird. There's that. I'll have 12 to 13 grams of sunflower seeds with every meal. Seeds are actually my main fat source because of the omega profile and the micronutrient profile. I also have salmon, but yep, seeds with every meal as well. That's what that looks like. 1/4 of a bell pepper, 1 medium potato, 3 chicken breast tenderloins, 75 grams of white rice. And then, like any good bodybuilder, I'm just going to mix that into a giant slop bowl. My favorite condiment, it's literally just garlic salt. Garlic salt is different than garlic powder. It's not like grind up real fine, and this has, I think, bits of onion and stuff in it as well. So I'll put some of that on there and mix it all up. Last pro tip is that I will usually have I don't know if it's a pro tip, but I'll have a calorie-free carbonated beverage with every meal while I am dieting, because I find that the carbonation fills my stomach with gas and makes me feel full faster. So I don't do that for the exact same reason during off-season or weight gaining phases, because it makes me feel full faster and I can't eat as much. But for dieting, it's a nice little boost for your taste buds and makes you feel a little bit fuller. Well, my friends, bone apple teeth, as they say. Yeah, this is what I eat for pretty much every single meal. I'll do the rest of the meals. There's some slight differences. But that was it. Like 3 baby carrots, 2 pineapple chunks, 1 medium potato, 1/4 of a bell pepper, 3 chicken tenderloins, 12 to 13 grams of sunflower seeds, 50 grams of fresh spinach with low-calorie, sugar-free salad dressing. And then I just mix it up into a big slop bowl, put some garlic salt on it, and that's what it looks like. And while I'm dieting, the calorie-free carbonated beverage to feel fuller. If you have any questions about this or something that you want me to clarify or show, go ahead and DM me, because I'm doing the rest of my meals today. So if I know about what you want to know before the next meal, then I can include it. So feel free to DM me with questions about this if you have any. All right, so the full macros for meal 1 are 70 grams of protein, 110 grams of carbs, 10 grams of fat, and roughly 800 calories. So one of the reasons why I'm like one of the most boring people in the world to do a full day of eating is because my meals are almost exactly the same every day, and that's intentional. But once a day, I will take out 1 of those chicken tenderloins and have a serving of zero-fat Greek yogurt instead. And the reason why I do that is that zero-fat Greek yogurt is my primary source of dairy and my primary source of calcium, dietary calcium. The rest of my calcium comes from like intra-workout and pre-workout supplements that have added forms of calcium in the powder. But yeah, so again, once a day I'll take out 1 chicken tenderloin and have a serving of zero-fat Greek yogurt. The rest of this meal is literally going to be identical to what I had last time. So I guess as boring as that is, I will show the final product and the macros with the slight difference. But again, I purposely make my meals almost exactly identical. So for the Greek yogurt, I will just put this on a food scale and zero it out and then eat straight out of the container until I hit negative 200 grams. So my serving size is 200 grams. I don't share these, so that's why I do that. Greek yogurt for me is one of the most satiating foods out there. So sometimes if I'm getting super hungry, I will actually increase the amount of meals that I have yogurt in, replacing some of that chicken, because gram for gram, in my experience, Greek yogurt is much more filling than chicken. All right, there we are. Pretty much exactly the same thing as last time, just less chicken, because I took 1 of those breast tenderloins out for the serving of yogurt instead. So to make this not completely useless, I guess I'll talk a little bit about why my meals are almost exactly identical. And it's because the less that you have to think, the less the opportunity for you to make an error. If you have a different amount of meat, potato, rice, different kinds of vegetables in every single meal, that can be useful from a variety perspective, but it can also cause you to have to reference your meal plan every single time that you cook. And if you go into autopilot and make a mistake, now you've got to rearrange things. For me, because I have the same amount of spinach, the same amount of bell pepper, the same amount of potato, the same amount of meat in almost every single meal, I don't have to think about anything. I can go into autopilot and never make a mistake. Second, when you are dieting, you're more likely to make bad decisions because you get like sort of like brain fog symptoms. Because of that brain fog and sort of like the poor decision making in general, and because you're really hungry and you might be having cravings, you're more likely to convince yourself that trying to fit 3 muffins into your macros is a good idea. But what can actually happen is that can set a lot of people off, because it's a lot of calories without being satiating. The sweetness makes them want more sweetness. And for me, time and time again, I've just found that by eating the exact same things in the exact same quantities, I can get a predictable response in terms of satiation, in terms of digestion, and just by being so robotic and consistent, it makes every other aspect robotic and consistent as well, including how my training goes, including my sleep, including how I feel. And when everything is predictable and you always know what's going to happen, it's easier to navigate the ups and downs of high and low energy from dieting and the ups and downs of hunger. So for me, even though it seems like doing everything the same would make it harder, it makes it way easier. The full macros for meal 2 are going to be 66 grams of protein, 132 grams of carbs, 9 grams of fat, and roughly 865 calories. All right, meal 3 is literally identical to meal 1, but that would be very boring, so I guess I'll talk about one other thing here. Sugar-free sauces, particularly by this brand right here, G. Hughes. If you're in the United States, you can get these at any grocery store. They're awesome. Very low calorie, and they completely change the flavor profile. I don't use these when I'm dieting at all because it makes the food more palatable and I eat it faster and I don't get as full. But when I am gaining weight, I use them for the exact opposite reason because, if I'm having trouble eating, I want to eat faster, I want it to taste better, I want to get less full per meal. So if you're massing and having struggles with getting your rice down, find a good sugar-free, low-calorie sauce that you like. I highly recommend this brand, Game Changer. Meal 3 macros are going to be exactly the same as meal 1 macros because it is exactly the same meal. So 70 grams of protein, 110 carbs, 10 grams of fat, and roughly 800 calories. All right, last meal of the day. The big difference in this meal is that instead of having chicken, I have wild-caught Alaskan sockeye salmon. I don't bother weighing this either. They usually weigh anywhere from 6 to 9 ounces, and I just let it average out over time. I'm actually out of pineapple at the moment, so I'm going to have an equivalent amount of blueberries. I do stuff like that all the time. More often than not, though, I don't really run out of stuff. But carrots, spinach, peppers, everything else, sunflower seeds, it's all the same. I have salmon at night because higher fat meals take longer to digest, and I don't want to interrupt being able to get hungry again soon during off season by having a higher fat meal earlier in the day. So I have salmon at the last meal of the day because it helps in the off season with getting hungry on time. And I just keep it there when I'm dieting because why change something if I don't have to and I'm already used to that variable. So last meal of the day here, I do also eat the salmon skin and then I'll just salt that and crunch it up and mix it in. Meal 4 macros are going to be 58 grams of protein, 110 grams of carbs, and 16 grams of fat, roughly 810 calories for the last meal of the day. All right, so macros for the entire day, and this would be for a training day because I've included my intra-workout shake here. 264 grams of protein, not including the BCAAs in the shake, 526 grams of carbs, 45 grams of fat, and roughly 3,500 calories. Keeping in mind that this is a very steep deficit for me in which I would expect to lose 2 to 3 pounds of fat per week on 3,500 calories per day. All right, here are my micronutrients for the day. You can see that I hit the recommended minimums or more on every single one of them. The one exception is calcium, and that's just because Chronometer, the app that I use to track macros, isn't counting the calcium that is in my intra-workout shakes because it's like a different kind. Anyway, it doesn't really matter why. But if you personally want to take your nutrition to the next level and you have no experience with micro tracking, doing that for 6 months will really teach you about what micros are in what foods and will help you construct your diets in a more intelligent way. I am not affiliated with Chronometer at all, but that is the app or service that I recommend that you try if you'd like to start tracking your micronutrient intake. Chronometer.com. All right, everyone, that is the end of my full day of eating video. If you have any kind of content suggestions like this, I'm not promising that I'll do it, but throw them in the comments and I may get around to doing it, especially if enough people say it's what they want to see. This was actually not as terrible as I thought it was going to be. I just thought these were super lame, but it wasn't that bad to do this, so maybe more stuff like this in the future if there's interest. Anyways, you guys already know what to do at the end of a video. If you liked the video, like the video. Any questions or comments, just leave them in the comment section below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye. Peace.